Every single study technique your teachers gave you is rated low effectiveness by researchers. Every single. 1. Highlighting. Low. Rereading. Low. Summarizing your notes in pretty colors. Low. That's not my opinion. That's a 2013 review from Kent State University. Dunlosky and a team of 4 researchers analyzed decades of learning science and ranked the 10 most common study strategies. The ones you've been using since middle school? They're at the bottom of the list. Practice testing and spaced practice? Top of the list. And almost nobody uses them. Let that sit for a second. You've been doing this for years. Late nights at the library, highlighter running dry on page 47 of a textbook you'll never look at again. Rereading the same paragraph 4 times because the words just slide off your brain like water on glass. You get to the exam, flip the page, and the first question looks like it's written in a language you've never seen. And then, and this is the worst part, you know you studied. You put in the hours. 6, 7, maybe 8 hours the night before. And your grade says it didn't matter. So you do what most people do. You blame yourself. I'm just not smart enough. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Everyone else gets it and I don't. Nah, stop. That's not what happened. What happened is you spent 8 hours doing the academic equivalent of running on a treadmill and wondering why you never moved. The effort was real. The method was broken. And I'm not saying this from some high horse. I burned through an entire semester doing exactly this. 3 pages of color-coded notes for every chapter of organic chemistry. Beautiful notes. Looked like a Pinterest board. Got a 58 on the midterm. Because pretty notes and actual learning are 2 completely different things. And nobody told me the difference until it was almost too late. Here's what I wish someone had told me that semester. There's a system, 3 parts, backed by decades of cognitive science research, that flips the whole game. You study less, you remember more, and you walk into that exam room feeling like you brought the answer key in your pocket. Not because you cheated, because you finally studied the way your brain actually works. And by the end of this video, the old way, the rereading, the highlighting, the 11 p.m. cram sessions, is going to feel like using a flip phone in 2026. You'll never go back. Okay, so before I give you the system, you need to understand why what you've been doing doesn't work. Because if you skip this part, you're just going to stack a new method on top of the same broken thinking, and it won't stick. Your brain is not a hard drive. I know we talk about it like one. I need to download this information. My brain is full. But memory doesn't work like saving a file. Your brain is more like a filter, a really aggressive filter. It's constantly deciding what to keep and what to toss, and the main criteria is, did I actually need this? Was it hard to get? Or did it just float past me? And here's where the trap snaps shut. When you reread something, your brain recognizes it. You see the sentence, you go, oh yeah, I know this. And that feeling, that recognition, tricks you into thinking you've learned it. Cognitive scientists call this the fluency illusion. The information feels familiar, so your brain files it under known. But recognition and recall are not the same thing. Recognizing an answer on a multiple-choice test is one thing. Pulling that answer out of thin air on a blank exam sheet? Completely different skill. Completely different brain process. And it gets worse. In 1885, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus ran experiments on his own memory and found something that should honestly be printed on every textbook cover. Without active reinforcement, people forget about 50% of new information within 1 hour. Within 24 hours, that number climbs to around 70%. By the end of the week, you're holding on to maybe 25% of what you studied. 70%. Gone. In a day. Not because you're dumb, because that's how human memory is wired. Your brain isn't broken. Your study method is just fighting against basic biology. Think about it like this. You read Chapter 4 on Monday night. You feel good about it. You read every page, maybe even twice. Tuesday morning, you've already lost most of it. By Friday's exam, you're working off scraps, and those scraps are the ones carrying your GPA. Now here's the part that changed everything for me. Researchers figured out that the brain doesn't just passively record information. It locks onto stuff it's forced to retrieve, actively pull from memory, struggle with, work for. The harder your brain has to dig for a piece of information, the stronger the neural connection becomes once it finds it. Reading is passive. Your eyes move across the page, but your brain is basically on screensaver mode. Retrieval is active. It's your brain going on a search mission. And that's when the real wiring happens. So the problem was never how long you studied. It was how your brain was engaged during those hours, passive input versus active output. And once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. So here's the first part of the system. And honestly, this one alone is going to change everything about how you prepare for any exam you ever take. Active recall. 2 words. And I'm dead serious when I say this. If I could go back and tell my 19-year-old self one thing about school, it wouldn't be study harder. It would be close the book and test yourself. Here's the concept, stripped down to its bones. Instead of reading your notes over and over hoping something sticks, you close everything, textbook, laptop, notes, and you try to write down what you just learned. From memory. No peeking. That's it. That's the technique. Wait, that's the hack? Yeah. And in 2011, Jeffrey Karpicke and Janelle Blunt at Purdue University published a study in Science, one of the most respected journals on the planet, showing that students who tested themselves on material retained significantly more than students who reread or even built concept maps. And the gap wasn't small. The retrieval practice group outperformed the others by about 1.5 standard deviations. That's a massive difference in educational research. The wildest part? Students in the study predicted that concept mapping would work better. They felt more confident about the passive method. And they were wrong. Your gut feeling about what good studying looks like? It's lying to you. Here's why it works, in terms you can actually picture. Imagine a thick forest. No path. First time you walk through, you're pushing branches, tripping over roots, barely making it. That walk is the first time you try to recall information from memory. It's messy. You forget half of it. It feels terrible. But the second time you walk that same route? Slightly easier. Third time? Easier still. Each pass through wears a clearer trail. That's what's happening in your brain. Every retrieval attempt strengthens the neural pathway to that piece of information. Rereading? That's standing at the edge of the forest, looking at a map, and telling yourself you know the way. You don't. Not until you've walked it. So here's how to actually do this. Tonight, right after this video, pick a topic you need to study. Read it or watch a lecture on it for 10 to 15 minutes. Then shut everything. Close the laptop. Flip the notebook face down. Grab a blank sheet of paper, or open a blank doc on your phone, and write down everything you remember. Everything. Messy handwriting, half-finished sentences, whatever. Don't filter. Just dump. Then go back and compare what you wrote with the original material. The gaps. The stuff you forgot or got wrong, that's gold. That's exactly what your brain needs to work on next. Focus your next study session on those gaps. Not the stuff you already nailed. The gaps. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This feels way harder than just rereading. You're right, it does. And that discomfort? It's not a bug. It's the whole point. The struggle is the learning. That friction you feel when you're trying to remember something and it's not coming. That's your brain building the connection. No friction, no memory. Period. If this is already flipping how you think about studying, drop a like. Seriously, takes a second, and it helps me know this kind of stuff actually matters to you. But here's the thing. Active recall alone isn't enough. Because when you study matters just as much as how you study. The secret to remembering everything is to let yourself forget, on purpose, strategically. I know that sounds backwards. Give me 90 seconds. Most students study by cramming. You know the drill. It's Wednesday night. The exam is Thursday morning, and you try to shove 3 weeks of material into your skull in one session. Maybe you read Chapter 6 3 times in a row. Maybe you stare at the same flashcards for 2 hours straight. And in the moment, it feels productive. You're recognizing the material. You feel ready. Then Thursday morning hits. You sit down. The exam is in front of you. And it's like someone wiped the hard drive overnight. Cramming is the junk food of studying. Feels good going in. Gives you nothing an hour later. Spaced repetition is the opposite approach. Instead of reviewing the same material 5 times in one sitting, you spread those reviews out over days. You study something on Monday. Review it briefly on Wednesday. Again on Saturday. Then maybe 10 days later. Each review happens right around the moment your brain is about to forget it. And that timing is what makes it stick. This isn't some random theory. A Polish researcher named Piotr Wozniak spent years developing an algorithm called SM2, specifically designed to calculate the optimal spacing between reviews. That algorithm is the engine behind Anki, the flashcard app that med students, law students, and language learners swear by worldwide. And the research backs it up. Spaced practice consistently outperforms massed practice for long-term retention. The Dunlosky review I mentioned earlier, it rated distributed practice as one of only 2 high-utility learning techniques. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't dump a gallon of water on it once a month and hope for the best. You give it a little bit, regularly, at the right intervals. Your memory works the same way. Small doses, spaced out, repeated at the point of almost forgetting. That's when the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve gets flatter and flatter each time. The information goes from short-term memory into something permanent. Now here's how to actually set this up. Option 1. Use Anki. It's free. It's ugly. The interface looks like it was built in 2004, but it works. You create flashcards written as questions, not summaries, not definitions. Questions. What are the 3 stages of cellular respiration? Not cellular respiration has 3 stages. The question format forces retrieval. Anki handles the scheduling automatically. It shows you each card right when you're about to forget it. Option 2. If apps aren't your thing, grab a calendar. Physical or digital doesn't matter. When you study something, mark review dates. Day 1, Day 3, Day 7, Day 21. Even this basic schedule puts you light years ahead of the kid cramming everything the night before. Active recall tells you how to study. Spaced repetition tells you when. Together, they're the most powerful combo in learning science. And I'm not exaggerating. Once you feel the difference between cramming for 6 hours and doing 4 spaced reviews of 20 minutes, you'll feel like everyone else is playing a different game. But there's one more piece that pulls it all together. And this is the part that makes it feel like cheating. Knowing about active recall and spaced repetition is one thing. Actually sitting down and doing it consistently day after day when you've got 3 exams next week and a paper due Friday, that's where most people fall apart. You need a structure, something you can repeat without thinking about it. A system that takes the theory and turns it into a routine you can run on autopilot. That's the study sprint method. And once you see how simple it is, you're going to be annoyed nobody showed you this sooner. Here's the full breakdown. Step 1, the sprint. Set a timer for 25 minutes. One topic. Full focus. No phone. And I mean physically put it in another room or flip it face down in your bag. No music with lyrics. Instrumental only or silence. No quick check on anything. For 25 minutes, you consume the material actively. Don't just read. Ask yourself questions while you read. Why does this happen? How does this connect to what I learned last week? If someone asked me to explain this at a coffee shop, could I? You're not passively absorbing. You're engaging with the material like it owes you money. Step 2. The recall dump. Timer goes off. Close everything. Textbook shut. Laptop closed. Grab a blank sheet of paper. And for 5 to 10 minutes, you write down everything. Every concept, every term, every connection that you can pull from memory. This is the part that feels uncomfortable. You'll stare at the paper and draw blanks. You'll write half a sentence and get stuck. Good. That discomfort is your brain building connections it wouldn't build any other way. Don't cheat. Don't peek. Just write what you've got. Step 3. The gap check. Open your materials again. Compare what you wrote to what's actually there. The stuff you nailed? Great. Move on. The stuff you missed or got wrong? Circle it. Underline it. Those gaps are the most valuable information in your study session. Because now you know exactly where your brain is weak. And that's where your next sprint starts. Step 4. Card creation. Take those gaps, the stuff you missed, and turn each one into a flashcard in Anki. Written as a question. What's the difference between mitosis and meiosis? Name 3 causes of the 2008 financial crisis. These cards become your spaced repetition fuel. Anki will schedule them for you. 5 minutes, maybe less. Step 5. Repeat. Take a 5 to 10 minute break. Stretch. Grab water. Look at something farther than 3 feet away so your eyes don't hate you. Then run another sprint. 3 to 4 sprints per study session is the sweet spot. Now let me paint you a picture, and I want this to sink in. It's finals week. Your roommate's been at the library since 4 p.m. It's 11 p.m. now, 7 hours. She's rereading the same chapter for the 3rd time, highlighter in one hand, energy drink in the other. She's exhausted. She's stressed. And if you quizzed her right now on what she just spent 7 hours studying, she'd maybe get 40% right. You? You did 3 sprint sessions, 2 hours total. You tested yourself on every single concept. You know exactly what you don't know, and you've got Anki loaded with the gaps. You close your laptop at 8:30 p.m. You watch an episode of something. You go to bed at a normal hour. Thursday morning. Same exam. She walks in running on fumes and prayers. You walk in knowing you've already locked the information into your long-term memory, because every single study minute you spent was active, targeted, and timed. That's not being smarter. That's using a system that actually works with your brain instead of against it. And once you feel that difference, just once, the old way dies. Permanently. All right, let me run through this one more time. Quick, no fluff. Active recall changes how you study. Instead of rereading, you close the book and force your brain to pull information from memory. The struggle is the learning. Karpicke and Blunt proved it. Dunlosky's team confirmed it. The science is not ambiguous on this one. Spaced repetition changes when you study. Instead of cramming 7 hours the night before, you spread short review sessions across days. Each review hits right at the point of almost forgetting, and your brain locks it in tighter every time. The study sprint method ties it all together into something you can actually do on a random Tuesday afternoon. 25 minutes of focused study. A recall dump. A gap check. Cards for the gaps. Repeat. Done. 3 pieces. 1 system. And it works whether you're studying biology, law, history, physics, or trying to memorize 400 vocab words for a language exam. Now, here's what I need you to do. And I'm being specific on purpose because vague advice is the reason most people never start. Before you close this tab, before you jump to the next video in your queue, before your brain has a chance to file this under cool stuff I'll think about later. Pick one subject, whatever exam is coming up next. Set a 25-minute timer on your phone. Study that one topic. Actively, with questions, with engagement. When the timer goes off, close everything. Grab a blank piece of paper. Write what you remember. That's your first sprint. That's it. 5 minutes after you finish, you'll feel the difference. And that feeling, that wait, I actually remember this feeling, is what keeps you coming back. I get it. Part of you wants to say, I'll start this tomorrow. And I understand the impulse. But think about it, that I'll start tomorrow instinct is the exact same instinct that's kept you rereading chapters and getting nowhere for the last however many semesters. The system works, but only if you actually use it. Start messy. Start confused. Start with one terrible recall dump on one topic. But start today. Active recall. Test yourself. Don't reread. Spaced repetition. Spread it out. Don't cram. Study sprints. Focus, dump, check the gaps, make cards, repeat. That's the whole thing. One subject. One 25-minute sprint. One blank page recall dump. Do it before you go to bed tonight. The students who win aren't the ones who study the hardest. They're the ones who study the smartest. And now you know how. If this changed how you think about studying, hit like. Subscribe if you want more science-backed strategies that actually save you time. And go to the comments right now and type sprint. That's your public commitment. First sprint today. Let's go.